Well, actually, the way I came to be represented by the trial professionals was that I was in a car accident about 5 years ago, and I had just moved to Florida. It was a rear-end accident, and myself and, at the time, she was my girlfriend, we were both pretty injured from what happened. So I didn't really know what to do. I started treating with a doctor, and a couple of friends and a few people that I knew eventually told me I should hire an attorney. I didn't know that that would be something that I should think about that early on after a car accident, but I'm glad that I did, because the insurance companies weren't very fair to me. So what happened was I hired a different attorney's office that was recommended to me by somebody I knew. And I was with them for several months, actually, maybe even close to a year. And I was treating with the doctors. I was trying to get through the injuries. For me, it was a low back injury that kept me from going to the gym and from kind of, I was in sales at the time, and I was on my feet a lot, going up and down stairways in offices, so it was really affecting the way my life was going. I was trying to get through it, but I didn't really get much communication out of the other attorney. I just kind of was going through the motions, and then a year later, they called me and said they had an offer to settle the case for, I think at the time, it was like $1,000 or something, which to me was I knew the size of the medical bills. I was kind of paying attention to things. I was getting all the paperwork in the mail and stuff, and I knew that my bills were probably 10 times that, so I didn't understand how there could be such a low offer. And what that actually triggered was some suspicion on my end that they probably weren't doing their job or something was amiss. So me being the gung-ho go-getter that I am, and I'm a smart guy and I've been to college and stuff, so I know how to handle people, so I decided to fire them and handle the case myself. So for a couple of months I was dealing with State Farm directly, trying to get them to settle my case. Because to me it was common sense that with all those medical bills they should at least be talking about settling it near 7 or 8 or 9 or 10,000, something like that. And they were so rude to me. They wouldn't take my calls. They basically called me a liar on the phone every time I tried to explain how much the injury affected me. They'd make a comment about how little my car was damaged, and it was just, to me, it wasn't a normal conversation. It just seemed underhanded on their end. Obviously, they were trying to pay me less. And here I am a year into the whole thing with $10,000 in medical debt to these doctors that I treated with. So I didn't really know what to do. Somebody else that I had gotten to know over the course of the year knew the trial professionals and knew one of the attorneys specifically who, when I called them, he met with me that day. And he took me into his office and he took a look at my case and he explained everything about the case that I probably should have known from day one from the old attorney. I finally learned about what was going on and why State Farm was probably offering so little money. But my case actually turned into a case that went into litigation. They weren't able to get it settled. So there was a little bit of involvement on my end, but it was an interesting experience because I had never been through anything like that, and they kind of took me step by step and made sure every time that I had a personal involvement with something, like if I had to show up for my deposition, the attorneys sat with me beforehand and coached me on what to say, and not on what to say, but on how to say and how to handle these people that were trying to intimidate me and who really didn't have my best interests at heart. So I never felt, ever since the day that I signed with the trial professionals, I never really felt uneducated or out of the loop or anything like that. And that was key for me because I wanted to know that it was going the right way, and it was. I thought it was going to be an easy thing that you just lay out the facts. Here's the bills, here's my injuries. I'm not trying to make tons of money off of you, but this wasn't an accident that was my fault, just make me whole. And they were probably the most unfair people that I've ever encountered. It was insane. So I was hurt, and I was, at that point, angry. I mean, I would use that word. I was like, that adjuster to me was somebody that I just was like very mad at. So I knew that I needed somebody who would have my best interests at heart. So when they kind of explained, yeah, this is common, this happens to everybody, this is just the way they play the game, and we know how to play it better than them, I was like, oh, cool. That's exactly what I need. Trial professionals handled every bit of that. They called every provider. They negotiated the bills even. Like I don't even think I paid a full amount on any of the bills that was sent to my house. Whereas if I was just myself, I think I probably would have mailed in some checks for the full amount. and pocketed less, but they used that as an opportunity to put more in my pocket. And at the end of the day, I think that it came out as good as it could come out. You know, I felt like it was taken care of. State Farm came up way much, the insurance company came way up from their original numbers, and I was very happy at the end.